And welcome back. Right, our party have finally left Threshold, and we are going to play the Eye of Traldar. This is a PDF. It's quite dark. The original scan doesn't seem to be that good. It's quite low res, but it's more than serviceable. I'm very glad to have it, thanks to whoever scanned it in. So I did print it into a booklet form. So you get the adventure, get some inside pages with pre-rolled characters and a bit of history of Karamikios and these little notes which should be given to the players, some maps, etc. And where are we, our party of heroes? This is Karamikios. This is Threshold, and this is the town of Loon, and this is the Black Eagle Barony, and this is the setting for the Eye of Traldar. When our party left Threshold, they wondered what to do next, and Ben suggested that they go to a keep which is on the border, which he remembers from his youth. Now, where is the keep of the Borderlands? Strictly speaking, it can be anywhere. There is no setting for it, and that is often used to its advantage. There was an adventure module called In Search of Adventure, and it was basically an abridged highlights of the first 9 adventure modules, and it was put together as a compilation, and it featured the Keep on the Borderlands. That was placed about here. Now, I don't know if that's official canon, but I did look up some info on this, and apparently this area here doesn't match the geography that is described in the keep. I'm going to place the Keep of the Borderlands on this border here, and we're making our way to the keep on the Borderlands when something happens. So our party are around the campfire, right, and it says here that it gives us a bit of a backstory which doesn't work for us. Apparently in this one we're escorting merchants' wagons. We're not. The light fades as you make a fire and prepare a meal, then suddenly there's a loud neighing of a horse galloping along the Westron Road, and some loud shouting. Suddenly into your campsite gallops a foam-flecked roan horse with a wild-eyed rider, and an arrow strikes the poor animal in the throat. It drops at once, and the rider manages to avoid being pinned underneath it. He draws a sword and shouts to you, "They're on us, there's no time to lose." You hear horses close by, and a man shouts out, "Kill the wretch and his friends." Men come running out of the darkness. Okay, well, it looks like we are involved in a fight right off the bat. This is the map of the fight, right, which you're meant to set up. I am going to set that up here, like this. I don't have miniatures. I probably never will have miniatures. And when you look at the camera angle, I hope all of this is very clear. You know, who is what. So what we have here is Ben, Donard, Sylvia, Mal and Liz. E for the enemies. And A is this person who's come in, croaked it on his horse, and is telling us that we're involved in a fight and they're on us. No. So, let's begin. What happens? The horseman is Alexi Schleppen. He's A, and he has details here. He will be with us for the whole adventure, and he is going to act as a retainer when it comes to XP and treasure. Now what we have is we have a man on a horseback here, and he's the one directing the orders. We have an elf here who's armed with a crossbow. We've got 2 thugs and 3 thugs, and we actually get 1 round to do something before they act, which is very handy because we're outnumbered and some of these enemies are quite deadly. The thugs, 3 of the thugs are level 2 thieves, and no, these 2 are level 2 thieves. These are level 1 fighters. They're on swords. Right, so what do we do first? Right, now we're told this elf is firing into the campfire, and therefore he on his horse can see us, but we find it difficult to see him unless we have infravision, which Sylvia does. So first up is magic, and Sylvia is going to cast magic missile on this elf, and she does 6 + 1 damage. That is a gloat. Just when she needs to roll a 6 instead of her usual 1s or 2s, she throws a 6. Excellent. That elf is dead. Malin's turn, and he's going to cast sleep on these 3 guys coming in here. Right, that is 2d8, and these 3 thugs are level 1, so it should be easy to kill them. Yes, and all 3 fall asleep. Missile next. I'm going to have Liz shoot one of these. Even though they're asleep, it's only right to assume she would have instinctively fired the closest ones. So she's going to go for number 7 here, who's got 5 HP, and she takes him out. I'm happy with this. Right, these 2 guys run in here. We're told that from the instructions, and it's up to Ben and Donard to take them out. Alexi, this new character, I think he's just fallen off his horse. It'll take him a turn to get up. So Ben is going to move in and take out number 4, and he fails to take out number 4. Donard is going to move over, step over this Alexi character, and try to take out number 4 as well. And he's got 5 HP, and he's a level 2 thief, and 9 + 1 is 10. That's AC 9, not good enough. They have AC 5. Right, now we're officially onto round 1. Let's roll for initiative, and they get initiative. Alright, so these 2 are asleep. There's 2 here. This guy, we're told, will not fight. Their leader, Torstar, is a wretched coward, and he doesn't come in to fight himself. He stays on his horse and watches. He will almost certainly get away at the end of the fight. Torstar and the elf will both flee. Well, the elf won't flee, he's dead. If the PCs kill at least 3 of the 5 thugs attacking them, we've killed 1, 2 are asleep. Let's see what these 2 do. Right, one's on Ben, and it does 1d6 damage. Level 2 thief. Misses. One's on Donard. Completely misses. Good for us. Right. Donard is on this one beside him. 8 HP. And he does 16 plus 2 plus 1 is 3. So it's down to 5. Ben is on this one, who has only got 5 HP, and he does a 13 plus 2 is 15. AC 4, they have AC 5, that one is also dead. Right, Liz and Malin, having learnt from their experience of dealing with the kobolds outside Castle Mistamere, know that they've got a grim job to do. Malin is not actually going to move forward. There's still an elf there who might look... No, actually I'm going to reverse that. They don't know this elf won't attack, so they're not going to run forward in case they get shot. So I was going to have them run forward, slice the throats of these 2, but no, these are asleep. They're out of the fight. It's best they deal with the living enemies. So Malin has no ranged attack. Sylvia and Liz both have ranged, and they're going to go. I'll do Sylvia. I should have actually done ranged first. My order of combat. Sylvia is on enemy 3, and she misses. Liz goes 1, 2, 3. That's not short range. She throws a 14 plus 1 for her dex is 15. AC 4, 5 damage, takes out that thug. Right, round 2. Let's roll for initiative. We get initiative. So the first thing is going to happen is they're going to go Ben, this guy Alexi, and this guy Donard are going to go up for this guy here. Sylvia and Liz are going to fight, though Liz won't be able to see him. He's too far away and he's on the other side of the campfire. So only Liz can see. So we'll see how this fight goes. Sylvia hits and does 2 points of damage to him. Donard misses. Ben misses, and this guy Alexi misses. Their turn, and he runs. He's on a horse. He's out of there. That leaves these two. They're asleep. Round 3, they're asleep. They get their throats cut. Right. Okay, actually what we'll do is we'll save one for interrogation. And we're told that if any of the thugs have survived and have been captured, they won't talk and they will simply spit defiance. If coerced with a charm spell, we don't have a charm spell. Alexi puts this thug to death. The fight is over. And so we all gather around the campfire. And this new character certainly owes us an explanation. And there is quite a long explanation here. The young fighter looks anxiously about in the darkness. I don't think the others will be here yet, he says, but we have to move. It isn't safe here. I'm sorry you've become involved in this. Well, actually, we can still go our own way, and he can go his way, but you'll be attacked by these thugs if they see you. I'm afraid we're in this together. He pauses to think for a moment, and then he launches into his tale. My name is Alexi Schleppen. I'm from a small village, Raina, on the Ruglo River. It's a couple of 100 miles from here in eastern Karamikios. Those bandits are slavers, men of the Iron Ring, a group that kidnaps people from Karamikios and takes them to Fort Doom in the Black Eagle Barony, from where they are shipped overseas. My own cousin and an elven friend of mine have both been lost to them in recent months. I've been trying to hunt them with friends. Those friends are now dead. I have little left of them. And his voice cracks as his hand moves involuntarily to a silver amulet, unmistakable elven design, around his neck. It's not only people and elves who have been kidnapped. Vai'elia friends, the elves of the eastern lands, are certain that the Iron Ring, or other agents of evil in Fort Doom, have stolen a magical gem from the Lake of Lost Souls. Even now the gem is probably within Fort Doom itself. I was heading to Lune with 5 Vai'elia elves, and we were ambushed by these slavers 3 times. I'm the only one left alive. We must reach Lune. If the gem is lost to Fort Doom, then the evil Baron will be able to use it to keep magical watch over much of these lands, and use its powers of mind control over helpless folk far and wide. I have to stop this. He clenches his fists in anger, and his knuckles whiten. I need your help to reach Lune. I can't hope to make it alone. I'll make sure you're well paid for your time. Please, I must find the friends I was told to contact there, and alert them to the dangers the gem's theft raises for us all. Now, the PCs may have several questions. We're told, if they ask about the gem, Alexi knows more than he has said. Alexi, by the way, is 6'2", 30 years old and blonde. Liz has a few questions. Firstly, she points out the fact that this guy has lost his cousin and an elven friend. He then went hunting with some other friends. They're dead. He then went out hunting again with 5 elven friends. They're dead. and now he wants to be friends with us. This guy does not have a good track record with his friends. I suppose what we're left to do here is walk towards Loon. Here. We're about here. With this guy and help him get to wherever he needs to go. Now, it's in the middle of the night, but we're told here it's about 8 p.m. I'm going to say it's slightly later than that. We're going to have to find somewhere else to camp. We're told we can get to Loon the next morning at dawn if we walk, but I think we actually need to rest and recharge our spells, but we can't stay here, so we have to kick out this campfire. People will come back here, and we have to make our way in the dark. I don't know if any of you have ever travelled in pitch black. I've only experienced it once. Having lived in and around cities, I've never really experienced total darkness. But I did when I was a student with some friends, and we were in this remote country house that was owned by the university for field work. There was a nearby village, and it was in the middle of winter. During the day, the sky was absolutely beautifully clear, very cold, and it was right by the sea. And at night, the sky was pitch dark. There was no moon, and because it was cold, there was no moisture in the air either, and not only could we not see our own feet, we couldn't even see each other. It was pitch dark. It was remarkable. And the other thing I remember to this day is the night sky. I have never seen the stars before in pitch dark, and I will never forget it. If you live somewhere where you see the stars regularly at night in utter darkness, I envy you. But the thing is, so we have to light a torch or a lantern. Malin enthusiastically volunteers, and we will have to move somewhere to a new place in the dark, away from here, and while we carry the torch, we will be in some danger. It is what it is. So we set off from this campsite here, walk through the forest. Sylvie takes the lead with her infravision, and together we find somewhere else to camp for the rest of the night until dawn at 5 a.m. And then we make our way to Lund. You near the city gate of Lund, which is built into the wall that serves as some kind of defence against the raiders from Fort Doom. The guards check you carefully, but there has been little trouble for a while, and they aren't too bothered by you. Alexi looks at a scrawled street map he produces from a leather pouch, just as some heavy raindrops begin to fall from a rapidly darkening sky. Down Market Hall Street, second left, first on the right, and then the shoesmith's shop, which we call a cobbler's. He folds up the map and puts his collar around his neck. "Let's move," he says, and he heads off straight ahead, seeking shelter from the storm. You're only too ready to follow him. You notice that we're sort of being railroaded into this adventure. It's not what you call a sandbox one at all. I don't mind this. I'm new to this. I'm kind of glad that a lot of the decisions are being made for us. And there are constantly hints and tips throughout the text on what to do as a DM. So for example, if we don't want to participate with Alexi, the DM is told to keep sending thugs after us until we get the message. You round the corner of a small side street and see a small shop on your left. Alexi opens the door and ushers you in. The rain is really pouring down now. You shake the wetness from your hair and clothes and see before you some ugly leery men in chainmail flying at you with swords. We don't get a break. I can understand why Alexi goes through friends at a rate of knots. Right, so this fight takes place in a small shop. It only takes place in this small area here. These extra rooms really are extraneous. So let's run this fight. And I drew up the small shop here. And in this shop are 5 thugs and a magic user. So I have set the fight up as follows. This is the shop counter. This is the front door. This is the street. Here's a magic user behind the counter, and there are 2 thugs here. And there are 2 thugs on the street. It hasn't been that well explained. When I first read it, I assumed that we were all in the shop and the thugs on the street were only there should we decide to leave. But I'm going to play it that we can't all fit through the door at once, So some of us are in the shop and some of us are on the street and we're being ambushed. This person here doesn't come into it for round number 1. Right. So let's begin this fight with initiative. There's no surprise. And it's mutual initiative. We're told this magic user has magic missile. Fires it. We're told to be nice to the players. There is hints and tips for a beginner's DM, which is very nice. I'm glad of that. And this person fires his magic missile at Ben, and he does a massive 6 damage. Wasn't expecting that. It's our turn to retaliate with magic, and Sylvia targets him, and she does a 4+1, takes him out. Right. Then we have Malin on sleep. He's going to cast sleep on these 2 guys. They're level 1, so it's impossible for him to throw less than 2, and he throws a 9. They fall asleep. Now, do they close in fast enough? This is interesting because even though we have an order of combat, everything is meant to happen mutually. Okay. So this one attacks Donard and does an absolutely massive 5 damage. This one attacks Liz and misses, and then they fall asleep. This guy is dead. We're on to Missile, and Sylvia is going to take out the one, or attempt to take out the one in front of Ben. He luckily only has 1 HP. And she throws a 10+1 is an 11. That's AC 8. That's not enough to hit. Ben has no option but to step up and try and melee this guy. And he utterly, that 1 HP, you know, this guy loses his head. His head goes dump and it rolls off somewhere. Right, we've got Alexi, who is a good fighter. He's level 2. And he utterly does the same thing to this. These thugs are dead. That is round 1 over with. We have round 2. Now what happens in round 2? Well, these guys are asleep. It's up to Liz, who's learnt that you gotta cut these people's throats. That's what she does. And Donard mallets this one in the skull with his warhammer. Malin wishes that they were somewhere dark so he could actually just hold the lamp and look useful. But in round 2, the thug leader comes in through this door from room 2, steps over the bodies of his fallen comrades and attacks. Right, so we have initiative. And he gets initiative, and he's on Alexi, who he may recognise. And he completely misses. Clearly, standing on dead bodies does not give you sure footing. Right. Missile first. Sylvia misses. These 3 guys are on the outside, and they've just finished off these 2 thugs, so that's their second round. Alexi hits, well, he does a 15+2 is 17, that's AC 2. This character has AC 2. He's tough, so he's from 9 to 5 HP. Let's see if Ben can follow through. No. So round 3. We get initiative. Good. Sylvie's going to do something she's rarely done. She's going to close in with her sword. So we have 3 melee attacks. I'll do Sylvia first. She throws a 12. She gets no bonuses. That's AC 7, not good enough. Ben. 17, more than good enough, plus 2 is 19. 8, max damage, takes out this thug. Alright, the fight is over. Everybody goes into the shop. What happens next? We're told that when the fight ends, we can hear a groan from upstairs. And Alexi runs upstairs. And I suppose, well, we've got no option but to follow. The layout to upstairs is similar to here. It's fairly inconsequential, the layout for this shop. And as we run upstairs, we see a roadman lying on the floor with a vicious and discoloured sword wound through his stomach. He's barely conscious but is just able to talk. His wounds are not curable, however, due to the use of blade venom. And again, we're given a little bit of clues here if Alexi is or not alive. But he is. And this man is, luckily for us, this man is still able to talk before he dies. Iron Ring, slavers, knew to expect you here, the man gasps. They will be after you now. You must make for the growling griffin and ask for Lerith. The man coughs a little dark blood over his robe and is clearly close to death. Well, he won't be taking that to the laundry. I won't make it, but you must. You must get back the Eye of Traldar. Even now it will soon be in Fort Doom. And the man shudders his last breath. Even now it will soon. Okay, he didn't get his tenses correct there, but he's dying. I'm not going to correct his English. Alexi's eyes narrow in determination and fury. The cowardly murderers. They killed a harmless old shoesmith, he snarls. Come, we must head for the Griffin. It's not far from here. We'll take the back route. We, says Liz, given this guy's track record with his friends. Following Alexi, not least because there's safety in numbers. Well, not if you're in this guy's company. You pick your way through a maze of small side streets in Loon and emerge over a gate into the backyard of a tavern. A beefy red-faced taverner wearing a leather jerkin cries out, Hey, where do you think you're going? Then he recognises Alexi. It's all right, Mirander. Where's Lerith? Alexi asks anxiously. The man's manner changes to one of seriousness. Down in the main cellar, hiding out. The Iron Ring has been sniffing around. Get down there fast, it may not be safe. And I can't let you stay long either. Alexi clambers down some stone steps to a wooden door, and with you in tow, knocks and says, Alexi for Lerith. The door opens slowly, and you enter a dimly lit dank cellar. Before you, by the door, is a lantern-jawed man in chainmail armour with a sword. Behind him, on a pallet bed, is a robed man lying with a horribly discoloured wound, visible around a poultice on his right leg. He's obviously in pain, and Alexi looks shocked. Lerith, what has happened to you? Well, 3 guesses given your history, Alexi. One of the Iron Ring's evil clerics, Lerith replies coolly, amused himself by inflicting a magical disease on me. Not much I can do about it, unless the meter arrives with a cure disease spell soon. That is if he's not been killed yet. But you and your friends here, we're not friends, says Liz. Why haven't you introduced us? You would have a much busier time in store than lying around waiting for help. You're going to have a job to do. Right. And yet again, we're railroaded into this plot, and as a beginner DM, I'm quite happy for that. Right, and we're given a little tip here that the bar owner, the big guy in the leather jerkin, can replace Alexi if he is killed. The Iron Ring will be in determined pursuit of you. They'll be expecting you to lie low here, then head off to Radleb Keep along the Westron Road, and they may even have men along the east, back towards Specularum. They're vindictive and evil slaver agents of the Black Evil Barony. Why doesn't the Duke do something about that vile cousin of his? So head back that way and you're dead. You've only got one choice, and you've got to do what no one in their right mind would do. Go to Fort Doom. Well, this whole adventure seems to be for people not in their right minds. The enemy will never expect you to head into this fortress. You'll buy time for yourselves and confuse the thugs who are expecting you to go east. It's highly dangerous, obviously. It's also something I need you to do for the sake of all the free people of Karamekios. Listen carefully. The stakes are high. Baron Ludwig von Hendricks and his agents steal the Eye of Traldar, which Alexi must have told you of. It will be in Fort Doom later this very day, if my sources of information are right. The Baron is away for a few days, but will hasten back to study his prize, and if it is still there for him, his power will be extended far across the lands. The Eye is able to control minds and perceptions, and Hendricks would be able to control the slaves everywhere. Everywhere in the country. This has to be stopped. God, I'm coughing. Feel like I've been diseased by a cleric. You will have to do it. Our own people in Loon have been murdered or dispersed by the Baron's agents. You can be smuggled as peasants into Fort Doom. Our contact there will get you into the fortress itself. Then you must find the Eye of Traldar and either bring it to me or to Mirander. If something has happened to us, you'll have to get it back to the seer at the Lake of Lost Dreams itself. It's a great responsibility, but the alternative is too bad to contemplate. Holy moly. The rest of adventure happens next time. One thing I haven't done so far is I didn't look at the treasure that we got in this shop and the treasure that we got at the campfire. We did loot the people at the campfire before we set off, and we're going to go back to the shop. The excuse is we're going to search these thugs for any clues. We don't find clues, but we find some very good treasure. Right, and I will recap that at the beginning of next time. So see you there.